Hello everybody, how are you? I'm Chef Rob. Thank you to the Mastic Merchants Library for having me. Debbie, thank you as always. I hope everybody's well out there, and boy, this is my first night of doing some soup, so it'll be perfect for an evening like this, but I'm the one that's gonna have the soup, so you're gonna have to make this another cold night. But really good for fall, okay, really good autumn soup. So what I'm going to do is, if anybody has any questions, please let Chris know, and he will read them off to me. I'm going to start getting the soup going. As you know, soup takes a little while, depending on the soup that you are making. So we are going to make an autumn spiced butternut squash soup. So I'm just going to turn my burner on here. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of butter. And then 1 medium onion. Okay, just gonna melt that down in the pot right here. Okay, a little bit over it, but it'll be all right because I have enough squash to absorb that all. So a little over 2 tablespoons of the butter. Okay, I'm just gonna use medium-sized onion. Always look for them real hard, firm ones. So that way you know they're nice and fresh. Okay. Always, as I say, after the holidays, try not to shop right after like Thanksgiving because you're going to get all the produce they didn't get to sell, and they want you to buy it. So go like the following Monday, Tuesday, and start getting the produce again. It'll be all fresh stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to dice this up here. If you like butternut squash, this soup would be definitely for you. Okay. If anybody wants to go to my Facebook page, it's Simply Creative Chef Rob. And I have a whole lot of classes this week, so if anybody wants to watch them, please, I'd love to see you at them.
We have 2 comments.
Sure.
Susan said, "Hi Chef Rob and Chris. Made your chicken paprikash for dinner this evening. It was so tasty. I need to work on my dumplings though." And then Emily said hello.
Okay. One of my 2 biggest fans, Susan and Emily, thank you for every night watching me. The dumplings, yeah, you know, let me just go into that. You just need to make sure it's thick enough. And I always found with the dumplings, just using it on a cutting board or even the bowl, and just kind of taking a little bit, dropping it into the water, okay, about 3 to 5 minutes. But yeah, it's one of those things that takes a little time, and it'll be fine.
And it can't be too thin or thick, right?
Can't be too thin or thick. Chris did that class with me, so he knows exactly what we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to saute this onion down. Going to get it nice and soft. Okay, typically it'd be about 8 minutes, but I'm going to turn this up pretty high so this way we can move along.
Debbie Gallucci said, "Hi Rob."
Hello, Debbie. I miss seeing you. Boy, when did I see you last? Probably like February, right? Unbelievable. And if today felt like February, didn't it? You weren't in that kayak today, were you? So everybody, I'm using some nice butternut squash. If you can, try to buy the squash that is already nice and fresh from the farm stand. And just, if you can get real close to the skin without wasting any, do it yourself. But definitely don't cut it. Don't cut yourself, okay? Because it can be very solid, very hard to cut. So I'm just going to cut this down the middle. They do sell the butternut squash already pre-cut. So if anybody doesn't want to get too involved and don't want to cut your hand, they do sell it that way, okay? So I'm using about a 2.5 pound butternut squash. How do I know? Because I paid for it today at the farm stand. So I do know that. And I'm just going to cut this into little chunks. The smaller you cut it, the quicker your soup will be done, okay? Because I want to boil this and I want to get it nice and tender. I think butternut squash is my absolutely favorite out of all the squashes. I could just eat this roasted, little olive oil, little kosher salt, a little black pepper on there, and just roast it. Now if you're using acorn squash or the spaghetti squash, that's a little more plain, so that really needs a little help. And what I mean, it needs a little help, usually like you need to add some cinnamon, some nutmeg to kind of boost up that flavor in it.
Emily
Yes, Chris?
said, I just use my peeler.
Your peeler, you can. I have gone through a couple peelers doing that, so I have switched over the knives, but I think if you're careful, it can be done. And if anybody can do it, I know Emily can. I know it. So I'm just going to peel this other side of this squash here. Now this side of the squash will have the seeds in here. Okay. Just like that. And I know, look for them on sale because right now up to Thanksgiving, I know King Cullen last week had it for 49 cents a pound, which is great. You don't get it any cheaper than that. And a lot of times they are buying it from the local farm stands too. So you are supporting them too. So I'm just taking out these seeds here. I do salads with butternut squash. I have a recipe for a butternut squash lasagna. So a little something different. It'll have to be next fall that I can do that because I'm already busy with this year of all my different fall programs. So if anybody would like, at 4 o'clock tomorrow, I am doing a crustless apple crumb pie. Okay, and if you like crumb pie, please watch this one. It's one of my wife's favorites. She loves it. She will eat the crumbs off of the top if I am not looking, so I always have to keep looking. And that one is at the Morrill Public Library on Zoom at 4 o'clock tomorrow. And Morrill Library is in Massachusetts, okay? And you can go to that library. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, this onion is nice and soft. I'm going to add in my butternut squash to this. Again, if you have any questions out there, please let me know. And put that all in there. And then at the end of the week, we are doing a library, and we have chocolate cranberry scones, which I know we did at the Mastic Merchants Library. Actually, I think we did that one twice. When I first started, and about a year ago, I think we did that one.
Steven said I make it with bacon and onion.
Okay, yep, bacon and onion would be perfect with this. Yep, really good. Okay, I'm just gonna get that onion tossed with the butternut squash here. And then what I want to do is I want to add 6 cups of chicken broth. If you're vegetarian, you want to use vegetable broth, please. It works just absolutely great. The chicken broth, what you want to do, you can make your own with either real good stock. You can buy chicken base, add it to the water, just dilute it, or just buy the boxed chicken broth, okay? So what I want to do is just kind of cover the squash, get that all in here, and then I am going to reserve just a little bit of stock because in a little bit this is going to get nice and tender, the squash, and I'm going to want to puree it in the blender. And I want it definitely to be a little soft. So what we're going to do is we are just going to put that lid on here, let that cook. About 15, 20 minutes is what it normally would take. I'm going to cook it really high so we can kind of move it along a little. Yes, Chris?
Emily said, I'm getting a new stove tomorrow, so I do not know what time they're coming. So I guess about watching your video tomorrow.
Okay.
Steven said, better than broth. Veggie is amazing. And Ella said, OMG, I always put everything to boil and then I put it in a blender. And then Emily asked, can I use a seafood broth?
I don't think a seafood broth would go good with this really at all. I would say the chicken to the vegetable broth is your best bet with that. What was the other question, Chris?
Let's see. Well, Steven said better than broth, veggie is amazing. And then Ella said, OMG, I always put everything to boil, then I put it in a blender.
Right, if you are boiling everything and put it into the blender, you do have to be careful. You don't want it to go in piping hot into here unless you are doing about half of the amount, because if you put it real close to the top here, you put the lid on here, it could pop it off from that heat, okay? So you gotta be really, really careful. Another way that you could do it is you could take the squash and go in there with the immersion blender, okay? And that will make sure that this lid would not pop off on you. So I am gonna judge on that just a little bit. Now everybody, this isn't on your recipe, but this is something that I'm just adding a little bit. So if you want to take notes, okay, because sometimes I like to add things to some of our classes. Sometimes I like to show you other things I would do with the soup or whatever recipe I'm working with. So I'm going to make a relish that at the very end you could put right on top of this soup. And it's so simple, but really, really flavorful and tasty. I want to say, yes, Chris, go ahead.
Let's see. Pat X, can I make this in a slow cooker?
Slow cooker would be great. Yep, it would work fine.
Ella said thanks. And Diane X, are you cooking on medium with the cover on?
I'm cooking actually high with the cover on, so I get that nice and tender. But I am right here, and I will start seeing a little steam come out, and then I know that I can simmer it. But I want to bring it to that boil at least first. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop up a Honeycrisp apple. They've been having the local Honeycrisp apples at 99 cents a lot of times, a lot of the supermarkets. And just cut that right down the middle. I want to dice this pretty small because I'm doing this as a relish, and this is going to go on top of my butternut squash soup. Okay, so everything gets mixed into the bowl. I do a pumpkin soup exactly like this, and I put the same relish on there. Okay, if you like this soup a little heartier, a little heavy cream in there, but yes, the calories will come. Okay. And this apple, since the skin is not tough like a Granny Smith, I can use the skin on this as well. Okay. I think this is the only place that I'm doing the butternut squash soup for. See, I always do different things for Debbie. Debbie, whatever Debbie wants, I'll do it for Debbie.
Steven said, I have added roasted red peeled into this soup as well.
Okay.
Or pepper, I think I meant to say.
Absolutely. Yep, that would work. All right, so one Honeycrisp apple, and I am just going to scoop that into the bowl here. And I'm going to add just a little bit of red onion. You can add about 1/4 of a small red onion. This one's a little bigger, so I'm just going to add a little bit less. And it depends if you want that onion flavor in it too. Just cut the little end off right here. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to cut that in half. So about a 1/4 of a small red onion. And right down the middle. And now cut it pretty small, okay? Because you don't want a real strong onion flavor in this. Okay, just scoop that right into the Honeycrisp apple. You could just sit there and eat this on the side like this. Now this is something like, you know how with the turkey, Thanksgiving Day, which is coming up, which is unbelievable, you always have the cranberry sauce. If you make this exact dish the way I'm making it right now, you won't eat the cranberry sauce. You will just have this with the turkey on the side. Yes, Chris?
Emily X, can you use scallions?
Scallions. For this here, yeah, scallions would be fine. Yep. Emily, you know I've always told you, whatever you want to do, you can do. But no, that would be fine, absolutely. I'm going to add actually a half teaspoon of the ground cinnamon. Okay. Just kind of dust it just a little bit. Now 2 teaspoons of the honey. Just kind of drizzle that right over it. And what it does, it kind of gives it a nice glaze. And if this ever gets all congealed, you can just put this right in the microwave for 20 seconds. It'll start loosening up. And if you ever get it out of here, you can just whisk it. It'll come right back for you. Okay. And a little something different with this is chili powder. So I'm just going to add about a half teaspoon of the ground chili powder. Okay. Chili powder is not spicy. Okay. But gives it a nice smoky flavor to this. And right on top of the butternut squash soup, really good. I'm going to add some dried cranberries to this. It's really good, about a half a cup. And I kind of like to chop them up. That way they kind of go throughout the relish. Really good. One thing you could always do with your knife, if it kind of always gets stuck on here, just spray the knife. And it kind of just keeps them right off of it. And by cutting these, you get twice as many, don't you? So you always get them. So if you like the cranberries, this is really perfect way to cut them for the relish. And then when I started making this recipe, I thought a little citrus in here would be really, really good. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So these lemons here have been really, really juicy. So if you bring them to room temperature, you'll get more lemon out of this. Okay. So I'm going to use about 3/4 of this lemon. I'm just going to put on my glove, squeeze it through my fingers. Yes, Chris?
Emily asks, can you use maple syrup instead of honey?
Maple syrup? Absolutely. Yep, that would be a perfect substitution. And in my next recipe, I have where you can use honey or maple syrup. So you stole my thunder, Emily. Okay, just take the squash, lemon, squeeze it right through your fingers. Use your fingers as a strainer. Catch any of those pits in here. And I'm going to give everybody the recipe again. So if you want to write this down, this quick little relish, it's 1 crisp apple, any kind, 1/4 of a red onion, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, a half teaspoon of chili powder, a half cup of dried cranberries, 2 teaspoons of honey, and a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon. So this is the relish. Really, really tasty. I'm going to leave this on the side here. I want to go check on the butternut squash. See if that is starting to cook along here. Perfect. So this will be soft soon. And then on Wednesday night, on November 4th, at the Comsawag Public Library, I believe it's 6 o'clock, I'm doing pumpkin patch biscuits and pumpkin carbonara with spaghetti. And that is a recipe that I did a virtual program with Giada. So I'm going to be doing that one, and it's the exact recipe that I did it with her. So it's absolutely fantastic. So if you like carbonara, but you don't like the calories, this has no cream in it at all. Using pumpkin, using the pasta water, so really, really good. Yes, Chris?
Emily asks, can I leave the chili powder out?
The chili powder, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Chili powder is not for everybody. Yeah. So while the soup is cooking, I'm going to reduce that down just for a little while.
Stephen asks, are those recipes in your cookbook?
The relish here is, I did this a few years back with a pumpkin soup on the side. And then the Honeycrisp apple salad, that is not in my cookbook. Okay.
He said the Wednesday recipes.
Oh, the Wednesday recipes? No, they're not, because the Wednesday recipes I actually just did that about 3 weeks ago now with Giada. So my books were done years ago. So no, sorry. But if you watch the program, you'll get the recipes. And it's on Facebook too. So while the autumn spiced butternut squash is cooking, I'm going to start preparing the salad. This one you have to make for Thanksgiving because you know how everything is so heavy. The stuffing, the sweet potatoes, okay, the turkey, the gravy. This just lightens it up really, really well. So please watch how I do this. About 1 pound of Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are just like mini little heads of cabbage. I like to just kind of, take off these gloves for this. I like to just take them, cut them in half, and just go like that, really small. And you could put these on a mandolin, but if you are using a mandolin, please make sure that you use that guard. I had a patron one time that was trying to do a recipe that I did at the library, and lost a little part of a finger, so please be careful. Always use those safety measures, okay? So I am just shaving this really small, these little Brussels sprouts. I did this one a while back on a YouTube video, back in the spring actually. You remember this one, Chris?
What's that?
You like this one, Chris? Is this for you?
Yeah.
You're a Brussels sprout man?
Oh, the Brussels sprout now.
No, you're not a Brussels. I knew that, yeah.
Yeah. Alyssa said, my sister loves giving her triplets butternut squash.
Butternut, I love it. Yeah, I think butternut squash is fantastic. When I was saying earlier about roasting it, you can always put some cranberries on it. You could put the maple syrup, the honey on there, toss it with a little cinnamon, a little nutmeg, pumpkin pie spice or apple pie spice. You can really just change it around really good. Add toasted walnuts or pecans on there. Okay. So what I do with this salad is I just put everything right in a bowl just like this. Just gonna do like 2 more of these. I don't need a whole big batch of this. I think I'm the only one in the family that would enjoy this, and boy, I will enjoy this. This will be mine after the class is over.
Emily X, can you use cabbage?
Cabbage, it would, because you would make this almost like a coleslaw, so yeah, you could use the cabbage. I would not use the pre-shredded one, okay? It almost and I've used it for certain dishes that I want it to stay really, really crisp, but it has almost like a little phoniness to it. So whenever you can, use the real fresh cabbage, nothing that kind of helps keep it really stiff, okay? Just want to check the butternut. That is looking good. And I can tell it's getting nice and soft. Again, if you like it creamy, a little heavy cream at the very end to that. Okay. Again, I'm just going to cut up some apple. Any type of crisp apple. I'm using the Honeycrisp for this. Always keep the apples somewhere cool. You got a garage right now would keep them excellent, okay? When you buy them at the supermarkets, I always tell you, don't buy them from outside, because outside during the day it's warm and then at night it gets cold and they sit out there. So try to switch that around a little bit. You know, just buy it inside the supermarkets, okay? And then just give this a nice rough chop. I don't need to peel this skin at all either. Okay. So Debbie, I was at Bayport Blue Point today and I saw Steve there. Steve Berg. So I know he knows I'm doing this because he does all the tech work over there. My boys remember him from Hampton Bays Library, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to add the apple in with the Brussels sprouts. Okay, what else would go really good with this? I always thought toasted almonds, you want a nice crunch to this. So always toast the almonds ahead of time. Put them in a little like saute pan, just flip them a couple times just till it gets that little brownness, and then you'll really taste that nutty difference. Okay, so I'm just gonna put them on there. So the almonds, it would be about a half a cup if you're making the whole batch. And then again, the dried cranberries, about a half a cup. And this one, you can leave them whole or you can just give them a little rough chop as well. If you wanted to add some pear to this, pear would be really good in this salad. Okay, and it really starts to look like fall really quickly. And then I'm going to add some red onion, about a quarter cup of diced red onion. And just try to cut it on the smaller side. And whenever you do it using the knife, always, for every time you go down, you move your fingers back one, okay? Because if you don't do the math on that, you lose a finger. Okay, I'm going to scoop this, put this right into this salad here. Okay, I'm going to leave that salad for a second. I want to go back to my soup. You can see in there, look at that boiling. So now I'm just going to kind of simmer it. I can see that the squash, I just know. Taking a spoon, and I just cut that right in half. So it's perfect, exactly the way I want it. I'm just going to simmer that. I will finish that in a minute. Back to our salad. So what else would go good on here? I said a little bit of cheese on here. So goat cheese on here would be really perfect. You could toss it on at the very end, or you can kind of mix it in with the salad. If you wanted to add like some rotisserie chicken into the salad, make it a little heartier, that would work too. So I'm adding about 2 ounces of goat cheese. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of put that on top before I put the dressing in there. I'll just kind of break that up a little bit.
Aunt Prudy said she just got on.
You're late, Aunt Prudy, and we got on late too. You know, well, we were here at 7:30 tonight. That's our latest class we ever do. Chris, why did we have to do such a late class?
Oh, because I had school. Yeah.
Because Chris has school.
Spanish
hey, Debbie,
class.
It's not me. It's not my fault. Chris needed it. Welcome, Aunt Prudy. Glad you're here. So everybody, I'm going to make the dressing now for the Honeycrisp apple, cranberry, and shaved Brussels sprout salad. It's very easy to make it. Yes?
Emily X, can I use feta?
Feta, absolutely. Yep, feta would work fine on this. Feta, goat cheese. Let's see what else. There's not too many cheeses that I would say go really good with this, but I think the goat cheese and the feta is kind of at the limit. Okay. All right, to make the dressing, I want to add about a 1/3 cup of the extra virgin olive oil. And just pour that right in here. And you just want enough dressing just where you can toss it and it's really lightly coated. You don't want to saturate it, okay?
Steven said, sorry, Steven said blue cheese.
Blue cheese. Steve, you have a winner. Yes.
You proved you wrong.
Yeah,
wow.
You proved me wrong, Steve. You were right. I wasn't. I got stuck going the mozzarella provolone way, and I said no. I didn't hit the blue cheese way, so you're right. Yeah, any of the gorgonzola, Roquefort, blue cheese, any of that would be perfect. So I'm going to add in about 2 large juiced lemons. I'll make it a little less, so if you only see me put in the 1, don't yell at me, okay? I'm going to squeeze this through my fingers. You can even put the lemons in the microwave for a little bit, and that will loosen up the juice and you will get more out of it, okay? And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. If you're looking for, if you buy those little squeeze bottles of Dijon mustard and you're looking for one with a really good price, that new supermarket that's around. Well, Aldi has it, and then Lidl, and it's like $1 for one of those, and it's actually pretty good. Some of the things not so good, but that is actually pretty good. So I'm just going to put in 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard into the dressing. Now, if you like your Dijon, you could go a little bit heavier, and I do like my Dijon in the dressing. So I'm just going to hit it up just a little bit more, but I know it's not for everybody. This is where you can put in honey or maple syrup, about 1/2 teaspoon. And Emily, in your honor, I'm going to do maple syrup because I know you don't want honey, you want maple syrup, so I'm going to do the maple syrup for you. Okay, so about 1/2 teaspoon. And then about 1 to 2 cloves of garlic, but minced really good. Okay, I have some garlic that I have minced here. And I just going to sprinkle that in there. I want to add some kosher salt and some black pepper. And that is really just to taste, okay? So when you try the dressing, you'll just know how much you would want there. I think just a couple twists of that and just a good pinch of the kosher salt. Oh, I almost spilt that one. Okay, so just whisk this until it all comes together. Okay, and actually adding the honey or the maple syrup, it kind of forms like a little bit of a glaze to it. Okay. So I will finish the Brussels sprout salad, and then we'll just go over and we just have our butternut squash soup to put together. Everybody, on Thursday night, November 5th, I'm at the Emma Clark Public Library, and it is on Zoom at 7 o'clock, and I'm doing crispy turkey with scallion pancakes, and it has a cranberry hoisin sauce and apple pie taquitos. Okay, it's a floured tortilla with an apple pie filling, caramel on top. Really, really good. We did that, the crispy pancake and turkey at your library, Debbie, probably about 4 years ago. And yeah, I was a busy man that night. That library stunk for days after I was there. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of take this goat cheese, or blue cheese, like Steve said, because Steve is right. And I am just going to drop that all over. And I just wanted to get mixed in really, really good.
Emily said yummy.
It has so much flavor through it. And now just take that dressing and just drizzle that right on top. And that's actually the perfect amount for this. And if you think it has a little too much dressing, well, you always have probably a little more Brussels sprouts. You always have a little more apple that you can kind of build it up just a little bit, okay? There it is. I'm just going to put it over by Chris so he can zoom in. I'm going to put it right by the relish here, Chris. So Chris and I over the weekend, we do these YouTube videos because some of the libraries don't do the live. Some of them just do YouTube. So whenever you don't see us live, we are busy. We are doing YouTube. Thank God we are doing stuff every day. And what did we celebrate over this weekend, Chris?
I'm trying to think. Oh, St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, it was. Yeah. We were wishing people happy St. Patrick's Day. We made Irish soda bread. We're doing that on a YouTube video.
In November. In
November. So here I am. Had the green shirt on, everything, saying Happy St. Patrick's Day and that. So when you watch it in March, you'll say, he did that back in November. Who's he fooling, right?
Steven said looks amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so I am just going to lower this. I want to actually start getting at the simmer. Again, you want to be very careful if you're putting hot into the blender here. I actually have this. I'm going to go with this. I think Chris wants me to do that too, don't you, Chris?
What?
Just go with this.
Yes.
Yes. Let me switch out this blender here. Okay. So if you have an immersion blender, and these things will be going on sale probably right now, actually, because I know they're starting all the Black Friday sales. So I was in a Costco today, and they had a lot of these type things already marked down. Okay, so if you're looking for cooking equipment of that, great time to look for it. Yes, Chris?
Diane asked, Rob, can you recommend a good iron pot?
A good iron pot. You know, I have been using the knife company, Henkel. I've been using a lot of those type of skillets and pots and all that. And I actually got a set of them. It was last year around the holidays at Costco. And it was fantastic. I think it was like a $249 set for like $129. It was really unbelievable. So if you're a member, like at any of the clubs or that, or you can always go on Amazon or online anywhere, look at, you know, something like that. But Henkel, the knife company, actually has a really good pot, okay? Or pot set, I should say. So I am just going to put this at the bottom. Chris, I'm going to have you stand back just a minute, okay? I just want to get this going. When you use an immersion blender, never put it at the top of the soup. Never put it at the bottom because you don't want to ruin the blade, anything like that.
She said awesome, thank you.
But I just want to blend up this squash here. And I always can leave some of it a little bit chunky too if I want. So if you like it hearty, leave it a little chunky, okay? So I can go right on top of some of these. And I can do like half where it's chunky, half where it's creamy. Okay, that's good, because I do want a few chunks in there. So I'm just going to leave that in here. I'm going to season this up a little bit, spice it up a little bit. So I'm going to put in a little ground cinnamon. So about a half of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And that really adds to the butternut squash. If you're not a butternut squash fan, if you want to make a sweet potato soup or pumpkin soup the same way, it would be great. Okay, so now I'm just going to add a little nutmeg, just like a pinch of nutmeg, because nutmeg is a lot stronger. Okay, so you just add in a little bit. And now I just want to whisk that in here really good. And this would be the time that you would start adding the cream in. I'm going to add in the fresh ground black pepper, just a couple twists. And then a little bit of kosher salt. Just a pinch of that too.
Emily said, you said if you want to make it creamy, can I use some coconut milk?
Coconut milk? Yeah. Emily, I would just use very little of the coconut milk, okay? Because it is thinner and you don't want to thin it out too much, okay? What you could actually do is add less broth to it. And if you want to make it creamier, you add a little more of the coconut milk then, okay? I'm actually just going to hit this just a little bit more, just to have it a little thicker. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to show you exactly how to kind of ladle this and how to serve that relish right on top. A nice deep soup bowl just like this would be great. Debbie, do you think you can get these for the library for when I come back, okay, to make it nice for the patrons, please, okay, instead of my plastic cups? Okay, just ladle that in here just like this. Again, if you don't want it chunky, just puree it the rest of the way. And on a cold, windy night just like this, this is absolutely perfect for it. Okay?
Emily said, thank you for the info.
You're welcome. It'll remind you of a yellow or Indian type split pea soup. And now you would just take some of this relish that has the honey in it. We'll sweeten this soup up a little bit. And this could be really nice for Thanksgiving as well. One year around the holidays, what we did with this soup, I made it as a pumpkin soup, and then I made this relish, and we actually put it in little like espresso type cups, okay? It was almost just like almost like shots of soup, but it was for an appetizer. And we put a little bit of the relish on there. So you do the shrimp cocktail, you could do the soup in small little cups that can really take the heat, and put some of that relish on there. And it's really, really delicious. And then, again, Thanksgiving, you gotta serve this salad, right? Chris, you're gonna share this with me in a little bit, right?
Yeah, okay. Prudence asked, what is the soup?
What is
What's the name
soup?
of it?
It is an autumn spiced butternut squash soup. That is exactly what it is. Everybody, I want to give you some other libraries that I am doing, and if you have questions about anything, any of this, any fall things, anything you want to know about me, anything you want to know about Chris, we got to do a story about you, okay? Because you're the man behind the scenes. Okay?
Sure.
On Saturday, well, actually, I should go Friday, November 6th at 6:30. I'm doing chocolate cranberry scones, and that is on Zoom. And I shouldn't say that. Is that on Zoom, Chris? You did the thing.
Which one?
The Manchester by the Sea.
That is Zoom.
Zoom? Okay. Manchester by the Sea, or the Essex Library, Public Library in Massachusetts. So we're doing chocolate cranberry scones, and then we're doing something else there as well. On Saturday the 7th, we're due at 12 o'clock. We are doing a harvest pumpkin crumb cake. Okay, and that is at the Hudson Public Library. And then at 2:30 in Islip on Facebook, we're doing cinnamon apple buttermilk pancakes. I haven't done that one online or at the library yet. And then the last one that I am doing for next week, well, Sunday would be Hicksville Public Library, and that's at 7 o'clock, and I'm doing spaghettini, so a spaghetti, and that is with shrimp and asparagus and the tricolored tomatoes, and that is also a new recipe that I'm doing. And I'm doing grilled salmon sliders with like a green onion and dill sauce, okay? So, yes, Chris?
Emily said, good night, Chef Rob and Chris.
Good night, Emily. Good night. So please, anybody out there have any questions for us?
Someone asked for your social security number.
Yeah, my brother must be on there or something.
No, just me.
Okay. Oh, you? Okay, you typed that in there?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it's not on there, so don't look. Anybody, any other last questions?
Nope, don't see any.
Can't wait to get back in the library, Debbie. I know you can't wait to have me back there, because I know you would be all over this salad and the relish, and you would be on these three. Debbie usually comes in around 10 to 8, okay, when my program's getting over, because she knows I'm going to feed her, okay? So, Debbie, thank you for all the wonderful years working together. And, Debbie and I spoke about something, and she had brought it up first and about loyalty, and like how she's very loyal to me, and you find somebody that, you work with well, you keep it, and it's the same with working with Debbie. And as soon as we're done with this, we're going to be right back at the library doing it, because you've been loyal to me, I will be back in your library. It goes the same way.
Linda said, thanks, Chef Rob. I'm really improving my menus. Pro-Friends asked, is the library going to post a soup recipe? And Diane asks, is there a way to get these recipes in print?
I believe they are online right now.
On either the Facebook or the website.
Yeah. And what I'll do is I will send Debbie the relish recipe right as soon as I'm done here. But please, give her till tomorrow to get the recipe up, okay, or even another day. But I will put it out there, so you have the relish that goes on top of the soup, and then you have the salad recipe. But the salad and the soup, I believe Debbie has. Yes.
Diane said, this was amazing. My first time and I look forward to more delicious recipes. Such a creative way to learn how to cook. Thank you. And
Thank
Susan said recipes are on the library website.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you. Yep. Everybody, please go to my Facebook page, Simply Creative Chef Rob, and I'm doing this almost every day. And I also do the YouTube videos too, so you can always look at some of the libraries as well. But the Mastic Merchants Library, they've been with me through this right from the pandemic, so and we just keep going together, and it's always a pleasure with you. You, Debbie, and then the children's room, and it's just absolutely great. So everybody, thank you so much. I hope everybody stays well, and I hope you make these dishes and change up Thanksgiving a little bit this year, and make it a little lighter, right? Because we're around the house a lot, so we got to get out and get moving, right? But try these recipes, please. And I know there's a few people that come on here every night, and they're making almost everything that I make all the time, and it's so nice to hear that. Yes, Chris?
Nope, that's it.
No? Okay. All right. Good night, everybody in Mastic Shirley. Mastic Mauritius Shirley. Stay well. Bye-bye.